All right, everybody. Ready to dive into a career that's about to seriously take off?
You're talking about onshore wind farm technician, right?
Absolutely. We're seeing a projected 61% growth in the wind energy sector over the next decade.
That's incredible. It's a whole new world of opportunity.
Exactly. And we're here to help you nail that interview and ride this wave of growth.
Using RoleCatcher's awesome resources, we've got career guides, sample interview questions.
Oh, and don't forget the AI insights that can help you tailor those answers like a pro.
Think of this deep dive as your personal wind turbine technician boot camp.
So before we even get into the interview prep, let's just set the stage. What does an onshore wind farm technician actually do day to day?
It's definitely not just admiring the view from 100 feet up, though I'm sure that's a perk.
Oh, I bet. But seriously, what's involved?
RoleCatcher's guide paints a picture of a blend of technical skills, electrical, mechanical, and a lot of hands-on work, often outdoors at heights.
Definitely not a desk job. But before we jump into the interview prep, let's talk about why this career path is so exciting.
Well, the job stability is a huge plus. As the demand for wind energy keeps growing, so does the need for skilled technicians.
Okay, so we're talking good job security and earning potential. I'm liking this already.
Yeah.
But let's be real. Every job has its challenges. What are some things to be aware of?
Well, you'll be working outdoors in all kinds of weather. Sun, wind, rain, maybe even snow.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And often in remote locations, sometimes you might have to travel or stay away from home for a while.
So it's not for the faint of heart.
It is physically demanding work. You need a certain level of fitness and a tolerance for heights.
Okay, so a little bit of adventure thrown in there.
Right.
But hey, a little challenge can be a good thing, especially when you're contributing to a cleaner, greener future. Speaking of challenges, let's tackle the big one, the interview.
Right, let's dive into those interview questions. RoleCatcher has a great guide with 10 common ones.
Perfect. We'll break each one down, look at what the interviewer is really after.
And how you can showcase your skills and experience.
Let's start with question number 1. Can you describe your experience working with electrical systems? Now, even if you haven't worked on a wind turbine before, this is your chance to highlight those valuable transferable skills.
Exactly. The interviewer wants to see if you have a basic understanding of electrical concepts and safety procedures.
Right, so even if you haven't worked on a wind turbine specifically, have you ever wired a light fixture?
Or worked on car electrics.
Or even built a basic circuit in school?
Anything that shows you're comfortable and competent with electricity.
Connecting those dots between past experience and the requirements of the role. So what are some common pitfalls? What should people avoid saying?
Don't oversell yourself. Be honest about your level of expertise. If your electrical experience is limited, acknowledge that.
Right.
But then emphasize your eagerness to learn and your ability to quickly grasp new concepts.
Show them you're a quick study. So give us a solid starting point for a response to this question.
You could say something like, while my experience is primarily in mention your field, I have a strong grasp of basic electrical principles.
Perfect. And then follow it up with a specific example of how you've applied those principles in the past.
Even if it seems simple, it shows you understand the basics. All right, let's move on to question number 2. How do you ensure safety when working at heights? Obviously, you'll mention the essentials like harnesses and safety lines, but how do you go beyond the obvious and really impress them?
Yeah, you want to stand out.
This is where you showcase your proactive, safety-conscious mindset. The interviewer is looking for someone who goes above and beyond just following the rules.
Someone who's really thinking about safety.
Exactly. Talk about your process for double-checking equipment, assessing the work environment for potential hazards, and communicating effectively with your team to ensure everyone's safety.
So instead of just saying, I always wear my safety gear, you might say something like, before ascending the turbine, I meticulously inspect my harness and all safety equipment. And I make sure to confirm weather conditions are within safe operating limits.
Exactly. Show them you're not just aware of the rules, but you actively apply them and even go a step further to anticipate potential risks. Safety is paramount in this job, so demonstrate your commitment to it.
All right, question number 3. Can you describe your experience with troubleshooting mechanical issues? Again, even if your experience isn't wind turbine specific, you can still nail this one.
Absolutely. They're looking for a systematic approach to problem solving. Can you break down a complex issue into manageable steps?
Right.
Do you have a method for identifying the root cause? Even fixing a bicycle or a lawnmower can demonstrate your analytical skills if you explain your process clearly.
So you can start by saying, I take a methodical approach to troubleshooting, and then walk them through your process using a real-life example.
Right. Highlight how you gather information, test different components, and logically eliminate possibilities.
And don't be afraid to mention specific tools or techniques you've used, even if they seem basic. It shows you have a practical understanding of how things work. Okay, question 4. This is a classic. How do you prioritize your workload when faced with multiple tasks?
This one comes up in almost every interview, and for good reason. The interviewer wants to see how you handle pressure and manage your time effectively.
So don't just list prioritization methods. Give a specific example of a time you successfully juggled competing demands.
Exactly.
Paint a picture for them.
So something like, in my previous role I was often tasked with, and then describe a situation where you had to make tough decisions about what to tackle first.
How you communicated with stakeholders.
And of course, the positive outcomes you achieved.
Show them you can think on your feet, adapt to changing priorities, and deliver results.
Okay, let's tackle question 5. Can you describe your experience with wind turbine maintenance? Now, if you're new to the field, this one might seem a bit daunting. It can be, but honesty is key. If you lack direct experience, acknowledge it, but then immediately pivot to related experience that showcases relevant skills.
So maybe you've worked on other large machinery or have a background in electrical or mechanical systems.
Or maybe you've studied wind turbine technology in depth.
So a good approach could be, while I'm eager to gain hands-on experience with wind turbine maintenance, specifically my background in mentioned-related field has given me a solid foundation in, and then elaborate on those transferable skills.
Exactly. And don't forget to emphasize your enthusiasm for learning. Highlight your willingness to undergo training and obtain certifications to get up to speed. Employers really value that initiative.
All right, question 6. Can you describe a time when you had to work under pressure to meet a deadline? The pressure cooker question. We've all been there.
Choose a story that demonstrates not just your ability to handle stress, but also your problem-solving skills and resilience. What were the challenges? What steps did you take to overcome them? And what did you learn from the experience?
For example, you could say, in a previous project, we were faced with an unexpected setback. And then describe the situation, your role in resolving it, and how you stayed calm and focused under pressure.
Remember, the interviewer isn't looking for perfection. They're looking for someone who can learn and grow even from tough situations.
Okay, question number 7. How do you stay up to date on the latest technology and best practices in wind energy? This is where you show them you're not just looking for a job, but that you're genuinely interested in the field.
Right. Go beyond just saying, reading articles. Mention specific industry publications, websites, or organizations you follow. Maybe you've attended webinars or conferences. The more specific you are, the more genuine your interest appears.
So something like, I'm an active member of the mentioned professional organization and I regularly attend their webinars.
Or, I subscribe to industry publication to keep up with technological advancements.
And if you've taken any initiative to learn on your own, like online courses or pursuing certifications, definitely mention that. It shows real commitment. All right, let's tackle question 8. Can you describe a time when you had to work with a difficult colleague or client? We've all had that coworker, right? But remember, this isn't about bad-mouthing anyone.
It's about showing how you handle challenging interpersonal situations. The interviewer is assessing your conflict resolution and communication skills.
So how do you navigate those situations while staying professional and achieving a positive outcome?
Exactly. Focus on the steps you took to address the issue. Did you actively listen? Did you find common ground? Did you seek guidance from a supervisor?
So instead of dwelling on the negative, highlight the positive actions you took.
A good starting point could be, in a previous role, I encountered a situation where a colleague and I had differing viewpoints. And then describe how you effectively handled the situation, emphasizing your ability to remain calm, respectful, and solution-oriented.
All right, moving on to question 9. Can you describe your experience with project management? You might not be a certified project manager, but you can still demonstrate project management aptitude.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Think about any time you had to plan, organize, execute, and deliver a task or a series of tasks.
Like organizing an event,
Leading a team project.
even planning a complex trip. All of these can highlight relevant skills.
The key is to break it down into manageable steps, showcasing your ability to define goals, set timelines, delegate tasks, if applicable, monitor progress, and overcome challenges.
You could say, while my experience is primarily in mention your field, I've utilized project management skills when, and then share a specific example.
Project management is all about effective communication, organization, and problem solving. Highlight those skills and you'll be golden.
Okay, final question number 10. Can you describe a time when you had to troubleshoot a complex issue? This is your chance to shine as a problem-solving superstar.
Choose a story that highlights your analytical skills, persistence, and ability to think outside the box.
Set the scene for them.
What was the issue? What
Yeah.
steps did you take to diagnose it? What resources did you consult? How did you ultimately resolve it?
You could start by saying, I recall a challenging situation where, and then dive into the specifics, highlighting your thought process and the actions you took to reach a solution.
And if it involved collaboration, definitely mention that. It shows you can work effectively as part of a team. Now we've tackled 10 tough interview questions. But before we move on, let's talk about a tool that can seriously boost your prep game, RoleCatcher's AI.
Yes, their AI can help you tailor your answers to match the specific job description.
It's like having a personal interview coach in your pocket.
I love that analogy. So how does it work?
Well, it analyzes the job requirements and suggests keywords to weave into your responses. It can even provide feedback on your answers, identifying areas for improvement and suggesting ways to strengthen your responses.
Wow, so it's not just about finding jobs, it's about making sure you're putting your best foot forward in every application. And it gets even cooler. RoleCatcher offers video practice with AI analysis.
You record yourself answering common questions, and the AI will give you feedback on your body language, tone of voice, and overall presentation.
It's like having a virtual mock interview, but with super insightful feedback. Talk about taking the guesswork out of interview prep.
Exactly. It's like having a secret weapon in your interview arsenal. You can practice, refine, and perfect your responses until you feel totally confident.
And the best part is you can save and revisit questions, creating a personalized interview prep resource you can access anytime.
So whether you're a seasoned pro or just starting out, RoleCatcher's AI can give you that extra edge.
But let's step back for a moment and zoom out to the bigger picture. We've talked about daily tasks and interview questions, but what does it all mean for you, the aspiring onshore wind farm technician?
The big picture is you're not just applying for a job, you're stepping into a career with incredible growth potential.
And as the world shifts towards renewable energy sources, the demand for skilled technicians like you will only increase. It's not just about a paycheck. It's about being part of a solution to a global challenge. You'd be contributing to a cleaner, more sustainable future. That's pretty inspiring.
It really is. And as we've seen from the RoleCatcher guides, there are multiple pathways for advancement within this field. You could specialize, move into management, or even branch out into other areas of renewable energy.
So this interview isn't just about landing a job, it's about opening the door to a world of possibilities. Now, before we wrap up this section, let's circle back to something you mentioned earlier, certifications. The guide highlighted a few key ones. Can you give us a little more insight into those?
Absolutely. Certifications demonstrate your commitment to professional development and signal to employers that you possess specific skills and knowledge. The guide mentioned the GWO Basic Safety Training, which covers essential safety practices for working in the wind industry.
That sounds like a must-have for anyone starting out in this field. What about other certifications?
Well, as you gain experience, you can pursue more specialized certifications in areas like electrical systems, hydraulics, or turbine-specific models. Organizations like the Global Wind Organization, GWO, offer a range of training programs. And you can also check out renewable energy associations specific to your country, as they often list accredited training providers.
That's really helpful. It sounds like there are plenty of opportunities to upskill and specialize as you progress in your career. Now, thinking back to those challenging conditions we discussed earlier, what would you say are some key personality traits that would help someone thrive as an onshore wind farm technician?
You definitely need to be a problem solver, someone who can think on their feet when they're up on a turbine and something unexpected happens. You've got to be comfortable working independently sometimes in isolated locations and possess a strong safety mindset. And teamwork is essential, especially during installations or major repairs.
So someone who's resourceful, adaptable, enjoys a bit of a challenge, and can handle a breathtaking view literally.
Exactly. It's not a desk job, that's for sure. But for the right person, it's incredibly rewarding. Now, before we wrap up this deep dive, I want to touch on one more thing. The RoleCatcher guides emphasize the importance of continuous learning.
So it's not like you learn everything you need to know and then you're set for life.
Not at all. The wind energy field is constantly evolving with new technologies, best practices, and safety standards emerging all the time. To stay ahead of the curve and advance in your career, you need to make continuous learning a priority.
So what are some concrete steps our listener can take to stay up to date and keep those skills sharp?
The guide recommends a few key strategies. First, embrace professional development opportunities. Attend industry conferences and workshops, participate in online forums and communities, and seek out mentors who can provide guidance and share their experience.
So it's about being proactive and seeking out those learning opportunities, not just waiting for them to come to you. What else?
Second, stay informed about industry trends and advancements. Subscribe to reputable industry publications, follow relevant organizations on social media, and set up alerts for keywords related to your field. The wind energy sector is moving fast, and you want to be in the loop.
It's like anything else, the more you put in, the more you get out. Any other tips?
Networking is crucial. Attend industry events, connect with people on LinkedIn, reach out to professionals for informational interviews. Building relationships with people in the field can open doors to new opportunities, provide valuable insights, and even lead to mentorship opportunities.
This is all making me even more excited about this career path. But I can imagine that some people might be feeling a little overwhelmed with all this information. What's one piece of advice you would give to someone who's feeling a bit intimidated by the prospect of breaking into this field?
Don't be afraid to start small. Even if you don't have direct experience with wind turbines, there are plenty of entry-level positions that can give you a foot in the door and help you build the skills and knowledge you need to advance. Look for roles that emphasize training and development, and don't be shy about reaching out to companies to express your interest and highlight your transferable skills.
That's a great reminder. Sometimes we get so focused on the big picture that we forget about the importance of taking those first steps. Now, before we jump into the final part of our deep dive, I want to circle back to something we touched on earlier, RoleCatcher's AI.
Right, that interview superpower.
Exactly. We've already talked about how it can help you tailor your answers and practice your delivery. But can you give us a specific example of how RoleCatcher's AI could help someone prepare for one of the interview questions we discussed earlier?
Sure, let's take the question about troubleshooting mechanical issues. Imagine you've uploaded your resume to RoleCatcher and you're working on this specific question. The AI could analyze your resume, identify keywords related to your past experience with troubleshooting, and suggest ways to incorporate those keywords into your response.
So it's not just about giving you generic advice, it's about personalizing the feedback to your unique skills and experience.
Exactly. And it goes even deeper than that. RoleCatcher's AI can analyze the specific job description you're applying for and suggest additional keywords or phrases to include in your response, ensuring that your answer aligns perfectly with what the employer is looking for.
That's incredible. It's like having a customized cheat sheet for each interview question.
It really is. And the AI can also provide feedback on the overall structure and clarity of your response, helping you refine your answer to be as concise and impactful as possible.
So it's not just about what you say, but how you say it.
Right. It's about making sure your message is clear, compelling, and tailored to the specific role you're interviewing for.
Okay, so we've talked about the role of an onshore wind farm technician, the skills and qualities needed to succeed, and how to prepare for those tricky interview questions. We've even explored how RoleCatcher's AI can give you a significant advantage in your job search.
We've covered a lot of ground, and hopefully you're feeling more confident and excited about this career path.
Exactly. But before we wrap things up, let's leave our listener with a final thought-provoking question. We've talked about the technical aspects of this job, but what about the less tangible rewards?
Ooh, I like where you're going with this.
What would you say are some of the non-monetary benefits of working in the wind energy sector? What are some of the things that might make someone feel truly fulfilled in this line of work?
That's a fantastic question, and one that I think gets to the heart of why so many people are passionate about this industry. Beyond the job security and earning potential, there's a deeper sense of purpose that comes from knowing you're contributing to a cleaner, more sustainable future.
That's a powerful motivator. What else?
Well, for many people, the work itself is incredibly rewarding. It's hands-on, challenging, and constantly evolving. You're working with cutting-edge technology, solving complex problems, and playing a vital role in a rapidly growing industry.
So it's a career that can keep you intellectually stimulated and engaged for years to come.
Absolutely. And there's also the camaraderie that comes from working with a team of dedicated individuals who are all passionate about the same goal. The wind energy industry has a real sense of community, and many technicians form close bonds with their colleagues.
So it's not just a job. It's a chance to be part of something bigger than yourself, to make a real difference in the world, and to connect with like-minded people. And that's pretty special.
It truly is.
All right, I think we've given our listener a lot to think about. But before we wrap up this deep dive, I want to touch on one last thing. We've been talking about how important it is to keep learning and keep your skills sharp in this field that's always changing. But sometimes the best learning doesn't come from a book or a webinar.
Oh, absolutely. Sometimes the best lessons are learned on the job.
Exactly. So for all those aspiring wind technicians out there, what advice would you give to someone who's just starting out in their career?
Be a sponge. Soak up every bit of knowledge you can.
I love that. Be a sponge.
Ask questions. Watch how the experienced technicians work. Volunteer for tasks that push you outside your comfort zone.
So it's about being proactive and showing that you're eager to learn and contribute.
Exactly. And here's another important tip. Don't be afraid to make mistakes.
Oh, that's a good one.
Everyone makes them, especially when you're starting out. Even seasoned technicians run into new challenges. The key is to learn from those mistakes. Don't be afraid to ask for help and always keep trying to improve.
It's about having that growth mindset and knowing that every mistake is a learning opportunity. Plus, I bet those experienced technicians have a ton of knowledge to share.
Oh, they do. They've seen it all, and they're usually happy to mentor someone who's eager to learn. So build those relationships, soak up their expertise, and never hesitate to ask for guidance.
Okay, so we've given our listener a lot of great tips for prepping for this interview and what to do once they land the job. Any final words of wisdom before we wrap things up?
Just remember, the wind energy sector is booming. Companies are looking for skilled technicians, so don't get discouraged if you don't land that first job. Keep honing your skills, keep networking, and most importantly, keep that passion for renewable energy burning bright.
That's great advice. Enthusiasm and persistence are key. And remember, RoleCatcher is there to support you every step of the way, from finding the right opportunities to practicing your interview skills and crafting those killer application materials.
So no matter where you are in your journey, keep learning, keep growing, and keep those wind-powered dreams alive.
That wraps up our deep dive into becoming an onshore wind farm technician. We hope you found it helpful, insightful, and maybe even a little bit inspiring. Until next time, keep exploring, keep asking questions, and keep diving deep. So we talked about the importance of continuous learning, staying up to date, but I'm also thinking about the importance of on-the-job learning.
Oh, for sure.
So what advice would you give to someone who's just starting out in their career as an onshore wind farm technician?
Be a sponge.
Okay.
Absorb everything you can. Ask questions. Observe the experienced technicians. Volunteer for tasks that maybe push you a little bit.
Right. So be proactive. Show that you are eager to learn.
Absolutely.
What else?
Don't be afraid to make mistakes.
Oh, that's such a good point.
Everyone starts somewhere, and even seasoned technicians, they encounter new challenges.
Yeah.
It's all about learning from your mistakes, asking for help when you need it, and never stop trying to improve your skills.
Yeah, have that growth mindset
Exactly.
and embrace the learning process. And I bet those experienced technicians, like you said, they have a wealth of knowledge to share.
Oh, they do. They've seen it all.
Yeah.
And they're often more than happy to mentor someone who's eager to learn. So build those relationships, learn from their expertise, and don't be afraid to ask for guidance.
Okay, I think we've given our listener a solid toolkit for prepping for this interview and those early days on the job. Any final words of wisdom?
Remember, the wind energy sector is booming. Companies are eager to find skilled technicians, so don't be discouraged if you don't land the first job you apply for. Keep refining your skills, keep expanding your network, and most importantly, keep that passion for renewable energy burning bright.
Yes, I love that enthusiasm, persistence. Those are key. And remember, RoleCatcher is there to support you every step of the way, from finding the right opportunities to practicing those interview skills and really tailoring your application materials to shine.
So no matter where you are in your journey, keep learning, keep growing, and keep those wind-powered dreams alive.
And that's a wrap on our deep dive into becoming an onshore wind farm technician. We hope you found it helpful, insightful, and maybe even a little bit inspiring. Until next time, keep exploring, keep asking questions, and keep diving deep.